It's going.
Okay, officially now I guess for the video, welcome to Botany, Trees and Shrubs of Utah, Botany 4300. I'm Dr. Ashley Egan, and we have had the opportunity to work together to create this modality of learning online for most of your learning materials, and then taking what we've learned and coming into the field together and putting it to practice. So I'm just by raise of hands, I'm curious, who here was able to get through the learning material prior to coming to field class? Most of you, not all of you. Okay, I expect you to have gone through that material before we get to field class, because it's in field class where we're going to talk about it, and we're going to put what we've learned into practice. And because we're splitting this into two different modalities, I need you to be really on the ball with that so we can make our discussions count and we can make them worthwhile. And also, when you have questions from your learning material, bring them with you and ask questions in our field class so that we can learn together. So let's see. Does anybody have any questions about their learning material for this week?
Can we talk about the quiz? I have a question concerning the quiz.
No, not yet, because I'm not sure that everyone's taken it. But thanks for being upfront and asking first before doing that. So, but you can email me and ask that question, and we can chat through email. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So let's go over the 4 major assignments. Now there are other little small assignments that you'll have that will be done mostly on your time. But the 4 major assignments I wanted to go over, and one of them we're going to be doing today. It's called the Morphology Bingo Hunt. And today we'll be learning and kind of beginning to talk into the language of botany, where we will be seeing the little variations that make species what they are. You know, one of the most important things about science is observing things. And science really is 2 different things. It's about observation and it's about experimentation. Mostly in natural history and in botany, we're going to be using our powers of observation to learn to classify plants, to learn about their form, function, their use, their place in the ecosystem and the services that they provide both to the ecosystem and to us as humans. And that really requires honing our powers of observation. I am a self-taught botanist. I actually never took a botany class, okay? But I've gone on and taken the things that I've learned and taught myself to the point where I've been a professor at 2 different institutions and a curator of botany at the Smithsonian Institution at the National Herbarium in the National Museum of Natural History in DC. And so you know, you can teach yourself this language, this botanical language. It's intimidating, and I don't even know all of the terms that are out there, because sometimes there's a lot of terms for the same thing, and it gets confusing sometimes. But it's a language of love in terms of learning what plants are, and that's pretty much what we're going to focus on today. So the Morphology Bingo Hunt we'll get into later today. The second project that we'll begin, and I'll introduce to you next time, is called the iNaturalist Bingo Hunt. So I'm going to preface this with a little bit of history about this course. This is my first time teaching this course, and prior to my coming here, those of you might recognize like the biology education majors in the class. One of your requirements on your course is Botany 2050 or Botany 4300. Okay, so a 2,000 level course being equivalent to a 4,000 level course is no good in my opinion. Okay. And so I'm trying to make some changes for this course to bring it up to a 4,000 level. Previously, it has been taught at a 2,000 level. Unfortunately, this particular semester, well, that's not necessarily unfortunate, but because the curriculum changes take like multiple years to make, we're going to be teaching this pretty much in a median level between 2,000 and 4,000. Most of you come to this class without having taken a botany class. That means you don't know all these terms. My hope is to build this class up to the point where I don't have to teach terminology, because that's a prerequisite. But we will be learning that together today and throughout this course, because that's a skill that you just have to have in order to get into botany. So we also have some botanists here and some biologists here. And I would like to ask the botanists in this room who have taken botany classes before and are more familiar with some of these terms to help out your neighbors when they're like, I really don't understand what this margin is. Just share your knowledge and be willing to team up and help people in identifying things and learning this language. Okay, so the iNaturalist bingo hunt, I was talking about the course because it does have what we call learning outcomes that have been, did all of you guys read about the learning outcomes for this course? Okay, so some of that includes learning how to use an dichotomous key and learning botanical terms. One of them also says, learn by sight 65 Utah plants. I'm required to adhere to that, even though that's not necessarily how I would teach this class if I was organizing it, but we have to learn 65 plants by sight. Now, because of COVID and other things, we're not able to maybe get as much of that learning in through the laboratory portion and in the field as we want. So you guys get to do the iNaturalist bingo species hunt, where I have created an iNaturalist account online that has the target list of 75 species. You're only required to know 65, or to find 65 and learn them by sight. And then as we go throughout the course, when we meet in the field and we meet plants together, any plants that we meet together will automatically go on the list that are required to learn. Okay, so there's 75 plants on that list, you're required to learn 65. If you meet all 75, you get extra credit for the other 10 plants, the other 10 species. But the ones we meet together, I'll be compiling a list and sending that out to you and updating it. Those are the ones you'll be tested on, okay, in quizzes and in the exams for class. And for your memorization of those plants, learning those plants by sight, you need to know the common name, the scientific name, and the family, the plant family, okay? Those are the 3 things to memorize. So for the iNaturalist hunt, I encourage you guys to get out on your own and use the 2 apps called iNaturalist and Seek to go and find those plants in the wild and meet them, learn to key them out, learn what they are, get acquainted with them, memorize them in your brain. You can make flashcards with them if you want, snip a leaf or 2 and paste it on a 3x5 card and write the names on the back and practice. You can also create digital flashcards if you prefer to learn these particular species. Okay, I'll introduce that more in depth next time, but I kind of introduced it pretty much in depth now. Any questions on those 2 projects? Okay, the main project and the one that I want to really focus on is what we call the site profile. And the site profile project is one I want you guys to work in groups of 2 or 3, where you'll be expected to collect 30 woody plants from the same site. Okay? So what you're doing is you're going into a place and you're creating a floristic knowledge base of what is there. In addition to that, you'll need to learn and know about the ecology of the site. What is the vegetation zone? What are the things that you see around you in terms of the soil types? What animals do you see interacting with the plants? What insects do you see? What is the watershed like? These are all aspects that you need to go into your site profile. This is the semester-long project that I want you to get into. We'll probably either introduce it next week and form groups, or the 3rd week. And then the last project is actually kind of tied to your site profile, and that is creating a dichotomous key for your 30 or more plants that you know from a site. That means you're going to learn how to actually write about the variation you see and create a key that someone else can use to identify those species. Now for the site project, I am going to require the groups that are formed, and I'm not sure yet whether I'm going to form them or whether I'll let you form them, but I'm probably going to form the groups. And then you as a group can pick a site, but you have to pass it off with me because it has to be a site that has been collected in iNaturalist. All right, I don't want you to pick a site like Rock Canyon where all the species have already been put on iNaturalist and you can just go and create a list for that in like 1 hour. That's no fair. You need to learn to identify your plants using dichotomous keys, and you're going to submit something in the citizen science platform that is iNaturalist that will be beneficial to the world as we learn and document the biodiversity of plants around us. So I have a list of about 8 or 9 sites that I've gone through and found, but there may be others that if you guys, as a group, are really passionate about, you want to go out into the West Desert, fine. But we just need to pass it off with me about whether or not that is a pauperous site on iNaturalist. Okay, so that's it. And then you'll be doing presentations on your site, Floristics projects, as a class, virtually. Okay, that's kind of the culminating assignment for the semester. Question?
So is that 30 like individual plant collection or 30 different species?
30 different species.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, here we're surrounded by a richness that you would not have a problem finding 30 woody plants here. There may be some sites where it might be a little more challenging, and if that's the case, just broaden your outreach and go out towards, what you can. For those of you who are intrepid and you want a challenge with this project, I would encourage you to go out to the West Desert. That's a place that has not been floristically studied as much as the Wasatch Front, and it's a place where you can really make some difference.
That's what I was thinking about with this question.
Yeah, I know that you are leaning towards that. And I hope, and it's up to you if you want to take on that project. And if you're out there at a site and you're like, I've documented every single plant out here, there's not 30 species, come to me and talk with me and we'll figure something out. I don't expect that to happen, but you may need to reach further and farther afield. And hey, if you guys are intrepid hikers and you want to get up into the middle of the Uintas, go for it, right? Technically, if you wanted to go out and work together as a group, you could probably get the site profile done, observing 30 different species in a day's time. But I would expect you'll probably need to go to your site 2 or 3 times. And I would want you to spend some time there and really observe what you're seeing beyond the plants as well. Okay? Any questions? All right. Okay. So you're gonna need to do some work outside of class. There's 100% certain, right? We know that UVU's teaching model is that, for every hour you're in class, you're usually spending about 3 hours outside of class. We'll be doing that with botany. You will live, breathe, and eat botany this first block, okay? So be prepared, because it is an accelerated course. All right. Okay, so that's it for that, unless there's any other questions about the 4 projects. Any other questions about the learning materials? All right, so one more thing is there's a line item in your Week 1 module called the Terms Fair Game List. That's an Excel spreadsheet that mostly comes off of the 9-page key. It's called Key 2019 that I asked you guys to print off and bring today. Those are terms that you will encounter in using the 2 keys that we will predominantly use in this class, that 9-page 2019 key and your textbook. So those are terms that you will encounter using the keys, so you will need to know them. And they're what I call fair game for quizzes and exams, okay? And so that's kind of another target list that you'll want to consider putting into your learning repertoire. Okay. I guess that's it. This is challenging to know how to teach to biologists and non-botanists. Let's see. One of the challenges of teaching a field botany course at UVU in the fall is that most of the flowers are gone by now. That may change as years continue with climate change. But right now, most of the plants that we're going to be dealing with are in their fruiting stages or they're in their vegetative stages. And so, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of flowers at our disposal. But that's okay, because we need to learn to identify plants in all regards. All right, so I think what we're going to do now is we'll do the, let's jump into our morphology bingo hunt. Okay? Does everyone have a timekeeping device? Okay. I think what we'll do. No, before we do that, I need to teach you a little bit about iNaturalist. Who here has not created an username on iNaturalist? Hallelujah. Who here has iNaturalist installed on their phones? Who here does not have iNaturalist? Lark, do you have a phone?
I have a phone, yes I do.
Awesome. Okay, so Lark just got a brand new phone. If you guys will open up iNaturalist on your phone and log in with your username, we're going to talk a little bit about how to use this as an observation platform. Did you all bring your ID token with you? Good. Good on ya. I'm so impressed. Okay, so I did not bring an ID token because frankly I don't have to have one, but anyway, your little token is something that is how I can know that you've actually taken this picture and haven't downloaded it and called it your own, right? This is also your digital signature, your little guy here, okay? So for this particular morphology bingo hunt, we are not necessarily targeting any particular species. What you are going to target is the list of terms on this bingo sheet. Hannah, would you pass these out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so you're going to go around and find plants that exemplify the trait on the list, okay? Now, to complete this successfully, you need to take at least 3 photos of that plant because we are going to upload this to iNaturalist. And iNaturalist is a citizen science platform where where people all over the world make observations. And I actually use this platform for research. It is an amazing and wonderful tool where everyone can make observations of the world around them, and then experts come in and help identify them if need be. But you guys can also identify them. This is also a wonderful learning tool, okay? This is a great way, for example, for you guys to learn your 65 native woody plants in Utah and see pictures that other people have taken to give you a broader experience base with that species, okay? So, in order to successfully do this particular assignment, you need to take at least 3 pictures of your observation. One of the entire plant, one of the plant kind of closer up showing something that you think that people might be able to identify it with, and that's the picture that you want to have as the front runner in your iNaturalist account. And then you need to take one close up, showing the morphological feature that you're exemplifying in this bingo quiz, okay? And you also have to include your ID token in one of those pictures. Or you can make 4 pictures, include your token in one of those pictures, okay? Don't necessarily include your token in all of them because we are uploading this to iNaturalist where the whole world is going to interact with these photos. And so we don't necessarily need your ID token in every single photo, okay? But it has to be in at least one. Then, in addition to that, because this is the morphology bingo hunt, you need to write into the notes section of your iNaturalist. And I would encourage you to take, if you don't want to upload these all right now to iNaturalist, use your field notebook that you should have brought. Okay, this is my field notebook. Brand new one just for this class. To write things down, right? You can write down the morphology term and then what pictures you took and something to help you remember which one. But you need to include in the notes section of iNaturalist the term that you're exemplifying, okay? If you know the species of that plant, go ahead and make that ID on iNaturalist. If you don't know it, you can put plants and you can go back to it later, all right? But ideally, I don't require you to have identified the plant for this iNaturalist event, okay? You don't have to. Ideally, we want that. And if you want to bust out your key and put it through the key, we won't go over that until next time, but if you want to try it, go for it. Okay, so any questions on this assignment? I think there's about 25 to 30 terms. And I would say let's convene back here. I do have a whistle with me, I think. I might blow the whistle. If you hear a whistle, that means come back to the Bowery. I've also tried to get everyone's cell phone number, and I might put you all into a group text and text you to come back. But right now, let's do it like this. Let's come back in, say, 45 minutes. So at 10:30, no matter if you're done or not, come back to the Bowery. We'll reassess where we are, and then if we need more time, we'll go out for some more time and come back and talk about our experiences. Any questions? Okay, I'll be here if you guys need me, so that you know where I am and you can come and get me. If you have questions, snip a piece of the plant, you can bring it back and I'll talk to you about it. Other than that, please social distance, wear your masks if you're next to each other, keep your COVID germs to yourself, and have fun.